Hello, everybody. Today I'm very happy and very eager to tell you all about my experience with the Gateway Experience. Kind of sounds weird to say it like that, but yeah. I've had a pretty profound mindset shift over the last 30 days. Sensations I didn't know were possible became possible. I went from thinking that pineal gland, kundalini, these type of things, chakras, were just kind of Eastern esoteric mumbo jumbo. Now I fully believe in them, especially the pineal gland activation, just because of firsthand account and firsthand feeling of the sensation. So this presentation is going to kind of walk you through my process. It's going to start from day 0 when I was starting off on the Gateway tapes, and then I'm going to share with you milestones along the way. So hopefully if you start this, if this presentation inspires you, or if you've been on the fence to try it or not, hopefully when you do try it, you'll have sort of a baseline to consider, to look at, and to compare your progress with mine. So, let's get started. Here we go. So the Gateway Experience, a 36-day odyssey of the mind. The reason I say it's 36 days is because today marked day 36. Okay? So as I said, you are going to expand your consciousness. Guaranteed. So day 1, stepping into the unknown. The journey will begin with, well, for you, it'll begin with the orientation tape, wave 1. So there's 7 different waves. Now, mind you, I'm only on wave 2 because wave 3 it gets into astral projection or remote viewing, and you only should progress to the next waves, to the next tapes, if you're like 100% confident you are reaching what you should be reaching. So, yeah, okay. So basically, the first day you can experience kind of a mix of excitement. You might notice that the meditation's a lot easier to do. The time kind of goes by quicker than you would think compared to other guided meditations that you've perhaps tried in the past. The Gateway crushes all of them. It's because it uses that sound technology, the hemisync technology, to change your EEG brain waves to mimic that, to basically shortcut your brain waves into, say, a transcendental meditation practitioner 7 years into the practice. You're going to have those same brain waves with the hemisync technology. Okay, so the first day probably going to be a very nice experience. At the very least, you'll be very relaxed. Okay. So around day 3 to around day 7, I think around, for me, it was around day 5, you'll start to, and then this is going to be when you're doing getting into the introduction to Focus 10 and Advanced Focus 10 tapes, okay? Around probably the 3rd or 4th day of doing Advanced Focus 10, might even happen the 2nd day, you'll get this kind of glimpse of this energy. Some people it happens to earlier. For me, I think I might have been later, but you'll get this kind of, this energy bolt, and it goes to the top of your head. You didn't control it. You don't know what it is, but you were like, wow, that was pretty cool, right? So then that's a great sign you're on the right direction. At least that's what it meant for me. And then after a while, meaning like probably 5-6 days later, those glimpses of that sensation will become more controllable and almost become like you're activating a new muscle. So for example, as this slide says, say for example you were going to the gym for the first time. You've never been to the gym before in your life. You've never lifted a weight in your life. So you're kind of weak. You have poor muscle control. You have poor mind to muscle connection, okay? However, you keep lifting weights, and after the period of a month, that mind to muscle connection is going to awaken. It's going to strengthen, okay? In a similar way, by doing these meditations, your sensation that you can feel in your head, I call it the third eye awakening, you'll start to be able to flex it. You'll start to be able to control it. So the first time It'll just be a glimpse, uncontrolled. But then you keep going, you keep practice, you keep putting in the reps, so to speak, and then that sensation will start to be more controllable, okay? And that's the hemisync. That's the converting of the brain, which waves are more generally can be akin to a light bulb. And with the hemisync, you're turning that same energy, same amount of energy that a light bulb is dispersing in all directions, blah, blah, blah. We have all these thoughts going on in our head, and we just put it in hemisync, boom, laser focus, okay? And that's when you start to get these flexation sensations right here, okay? Yeah, it's exactly it. So let's go on, okay? Day 8, let me get my head out of the way here. Day 8, I had a very weird experience. This was my first out-of-body experience. This is on wave 1. This was the sleeping tape on wave 1. I actually was right here. I was right on this couch here. And it was very weird. I was almost like in this limbo state. I wasn't quite asleep. I wasn't quite awake. And I started to feel my presence leave, and I could see things. It was like if you ever wore glasses, and you don't need glasses, but you put on somebody's glasses and everything's like blurry and stuff like that. Or you ever open your eyes underwater in salt water and it's kind of blurry. It was the same kind of vision I felt. And I only made it about maybe from here to here outside of my body before I got so frightened I just went right back in. But the weird thing is I did not wake up. I just kept going through the rest of the tape, and I fell asleep during that tape and woke up midway through the next one. So that was pretty crazy experience, very surreal. And I only did that tape one time, and then I just kept going on after that. So day 13 marked my first day trying out the Focus 12. Now Focus 12 is, of course, the Wave 2. And you can notice a stark contrast between Focus 10 and Focus 12. Focus 10 is more like this, and then Focus 12, it's almost like the doors open and it's just expanded, as its name suggests. So you feel very relaxed in Focus 12. The more you practice Focus 12, especially the 1 month patterning and problem solving tapes, the better you'll get at them. And these thoughts, when you were first starting off doing meditations, your thoughts might have had the volume all the way on. But inside of Focus 12, they're faint whispers, and the more you do it, the more you can kind of hold your concentration, or it's almost like you're concentrating not to concentrate. You're concentrating to be mindlessness. And I'm going to talk about something more in detail when I discuss the pineal gland, because when you activate the pineal gland, it becomes a lot easier to be in a state of mindlessness. Okay, I'll talk to you about that in a second. I digress, back to Focus 12. So Focus 12, it's a state that you can highly visualize things. You're incredibly calm. It's almost like, you know those small little coffee straws? You can literally be breathing through that. Your heartbeat slows really low, and you're just incredibly relaxed. If you are starting this, Focus 10, yes, you're relaxed, but Focus 12, next level. The first time that you go from Focus 10 to Focus 12, basically your first experience with Focus 12, you might not notice such a stark shift, but you will still notice a slight shift. The more you do the Focus 12 tapes, i.e. 1 month patterning and problem solving, the more you will get into that Focus 12, the more of the difference you will feel. Okay? So, yeah, what you're going to have, and this is just with the experience of meditating as well, what you're going to have is you're going to have less mental chatter. It's going to almost feel like a whisper. The deepest relaxation you ever felt in your meditation, I mean, it's almost like you're sleeping. And yeah, it's just a beautiful experience. And then once you're doing these problem solving or the 1 month patterning, you really almost get to be shifting your subconscious into believing and visualizing with great intensity what these future outcomes, what these patterns as Dr. Monroe calls them, are and will be in your life. It's like manifest meditations. So day 24, I felt my third eye open for the first time, and just this sensation, this beautiful sensation. It's almost like a tickling sensation right here underneath the cranium. It's almost like something is trying to poke out, and then it almost feels like I'm being charged to something, and it's just a very pleasant sensation. It's almost like something that was dormant just was flipped, like a switch in my head. Now before, when I was talking about the head sensation, it was mostly the whole head, and you'd almost like feel it like in your neck as well. But this, when you really get in these deep states of relaxation, you're obviously not flexing your head anymore, but the energy is still, you still just have this slight awareness, and it's starting to poke out right in here. Starting to poke out right in here. And I reached this tape, I believe it was either problem solving or it was 1 month patterning, one or the other. They both are effectively the same in terms of reaching focus 12. And that focus 12 state's where you're going to feel that pineal gland start to activate, that kind of buzzing sensation. Okay, so this marked a very stark change in my life, because I went from a person thinking that all of this stuff was kind of hocus pocus to actually feeling and this sensation activate in my head. Going back to the muscle terminology, mind to muscle, now it was like I can just flex it on command almost, especially during these tapes. And the cool thing that I told you I was going to share, I think the last slide or 2 slides ago, is that once you are able to activate and charge and activate the sensation, of the pineal gland charging, it is almost impossible to think. So once you are getting this flexing in your head, the rest of your brain, you can't really think. So you're able to achieve these states of mindlessness, this mind openness, so to speak, of just serenity and peace and calm. Around this time, especially if you're practicing celibacy, semen retention of any kind, doing some breath work and that kind of thing, really on your focus, and your emotional state is very nice, so you have a heart to mind connection. Your synchronicities in your life are going to start to appear. Things that, as Carl Jung would put it, synchronicities, things that just the odds of them happening just don't make sense. There's such low odds of this happening that it has to be something in the ether, something that you're attracting into your life. Could be new people you're meeting, could be visions that you get sent in the middle of the meditation. That happened to me. I can go into detail later on if you want with that. But essentially, your overall focus is going to be much clearer. Your overall peace of mind is going to be clearer. Mental fog way down. Self-control way up. Sense of spirituality probably the highest it's ever been. You're almost like a mystic. You're almost starting a mystical journey at this point. Okay? So the breakthrough happened for me on day 31. Day 31, I sank into a depth of calm I really didn't know existed. And this just comes with practice of entering the Focus 12 state, being absolutely still. Body barely felt it was there. But yeah, it felt like I was floating in a sea of tranquility. That's pretty pretty wordy, but true. Okay. And the whole experience was just really showed me, because the pineal gland was like charging for the entire 35 minutes. I mean, the entire time it was just this vibration sensation. You just can't beat it. It feels so good. And I'll go into a little more detail. So after that day, it felt so good. You start to get very perceptive of energies. After you feel this really strongly activate or charge or tickle or whatever you want to call it, subsequently after the fact, you are going to be more perceptive of what energies you start to allow in your life, because this thing is very sensitive. If you don't have a good heart to mind connection, if you're doing things you're not supposed to, living a life of sin, that's what sin is, basically not living the what God intends you to live. Now, this is not in a Christian sense. This is just how humans are made. If you're disobeying your conscious, that voice in the back of your head, on a consistent basis, you're not going to feel this. Also, you have to be careful what energies in the form of other people you let in the form of situations you put yourself in, because then you're absorbing energies. All of this, the foods you eat, all of this is going to affect this thing between your eyes, the pineal gland, from charging. Because after day 31, okay, see if I didn't discuss it, but after day 31, okay, around day 32 to 34, this pineal gland was not charging. Okay? And that's because some things came up into my life, that put me into a emotionally negative state. And, that'll do it. That'll get you out of the sensation of feeling the pineal gland charging. And that's when I kind of realized on days 32, 33, 34 of doing my meditation, that this pineal gland charging is super sensitive. And you have to be, in order to keep that sensation rolling and flowing, you have to be very cognizant of what energies you are allowing into your body. Right now I'm starting to reclaim it back, but not like it was in day 31, okay? Starting to reclaim the energy back here, going back into the semen retention, celibacy, the desexualization of the brain, not allowing any negative energies into my life. Probably within a week I'll get back to this, okay? So day 36 was today. So all in all, I've acted in only 36 days. I've had a pineal gland activation, and now I know what affects it. I know how to trigger it through the tapes. That'll be Focus 12, getting into a very deep sense of relaxation. I'm helping other people daily who want to follow along, who want to kind of awaken their own consciousness and use these tapes to do it. I've created a chat GPT, custom GPT for you guys, that I put in all of the gateway documentation, and so it'll act as kind of a coach or a guide for you guys. You can ask questions to it, and it'll use its knowledge base, which is all of the PDFs, all of the user manuals to answer your questions. From just day 0 to day 36, I went from a person that thought all of this stuff was hocus pocus to realizing that the chakras, it's more of like a metaphysical explanation for how the energy centers work. For example, when you get nervous, you feel it in your solar plexus. Okay, that's one of the chakras. You have to be open to the world. That's kind of your heart chakra. Be open, full of love, and not the love that can turn into hate, not romantic love, but actual love for everyone. You start to realize, that we all are energy, and we all are from the same source. We're all cut from the same cloth. Therefore, we're all connected. Everything is connected. Okay, and therefore you'll start to get these synchronicities come into your life. And then to top it all off, it's a beautiful habit to start, meditating every day. It's always going to be a good habit. And when you feel this pineal gland start to activate for the first time, you will be like, wow, this is an incredible feeling. I want to guard this precious feeling. Therefore, I can't do anything to mess up the feeling. It's a very precious feeling. Okay? So anyway, guys, I hope that answered a lot of your questions, a lot of your hesitations. Perhaps it inspired you to go along with your own journey to start doing these gateway tapes, start listening to these incredible audios. And if you would like to, you can join our private community absolutely for free. You just have to be doing the gateway tapes, otherwise it doesn't really make sense for you to join. On Twitter, I'll leave the link below. Also, I'll leave the link below for you all to use the custom GPT, the gateway coach as well. And then if you'd like a personal one-on-one call with me, just shoot me a DM. I'd be happy to coach you along, get you started, okay? So if anybody of you all has a question about the gateway experience, or I'd love to hear from your all's experience with the gateway experience, let me know in the comments below. Join the community. Guys, peace and blessings. Peace be with you. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is in your neck of the woods. Peace and love.